Buonasera, welcome back to our lessons, and thank you for your comments and likes. And let me remind you that you are very welcome. In fact, I do encourage people to ask questions, either or both, in fact, about things that I have posted already, any topic that I've posted already, if you want more explanation or examples, or also topics that I haven't covered yet. And so I'm very happy to do so. And if you are new here, thanks for watching. Please do subscribe. And I have one playlist, which is the Italian for Beginners. There are about 30 lessons now. And then there are the main channel, let's say, the other videos are different topics for different levels. So if you're a beginner and you have, especially if you have done already all the 30 lessons that are available, feel free to start looking at the other videos that I have, because you will find something that you are able to understand and to start practicing. Same thing if you're not necessarily a beginner, but you want a little bit of revision, you want to do some revision, to check the videos, the list of videos in the Italian for Beginners playlist. And you might find something and say, oh, I've forgotten that. And also, I'll remind you that I do private tuition, where I am not the only person who does all the talking, but we have to share it. We have to do some practice. Obviously, conversation use everything that we learn. So this is, as you have realized, there is a lot of grammar, some examples on how to practice the grammar. But grammar, unless you're immersed in the country, in the culture, in the language, where you can hear and listen most of the time, then it's very difficult otherwise to absorb and learn just by passively, let's say, passively or in a natural way. And learning the grammar is like the foundation, because it teaches you what you need and how you need things, how to you can expand and vary what you have learned. Having said that, there are some expressions that I do say just learn them by heart, especially at the beginning. As long as you are using them correctly, do learn them by heart. Also, those things that otherwise you have to start thinking, oh, I need one of these, one of those. Oh, I have to conjugate and I have to make things agree. Learn certain things by heart, and but then make sure that you understand also what you are saying. How does it actually work? So what you're going to do today is an expression, that you can perhaps some of it learn by heart. However, we are going to see how it does work. And the expression is what in English you say, when in English you say it takes. For example, how long does it takes? Or it takes I don't know, a certain amount of something or people or someone or something. So this, how do we translate it in Italian, or how do we say it in Italian? There are different ways, different verbs. And some they're a little bit more complex, and others that it's an easier way to say what you need to say, if you, until you have learned the more, let's say, complex um, expression. It's just because it works. Well, they are the agreements, they are different. Anyway, what we're going to do, instead of keep talking, we're going to see. Um, Let me just share the one of my fantastic tables, which comes from one of my books. All my books, actually, I've had them for, I think I said it before, about 20 years. So most of them are actually off print, but they're very, very useful, very useful. So we have the expression here, the different options, and how they work. So we see how do they work like that, how we can learn them and make sense, especially make sense of them. All the different, as I said, different options. And then there are some exercises here that we're going to see. Maybe I'll give you a few seconds for you to to think and you about the answer. Um, right, so let's start. As I said, this is we are learning how to say it takes. In particular, how long does it take? So, how long does it take? So here we've got at the top some of the options that we're going to see. And by the way, this modi di dire is ways of saying, so expressions really. So I wonder whether you've heard ci vuole or ci vogliono. So here we are using the verb volere. The infinitive of this is volerci. So remember the infinitive is like an infinitive of a reflexive verb where you have the pronoun that you attach to the infinitive, like alzarsi. So voler is volere plus ci. And in this case, what is ci? Ci is nothing really in this case. Is like it's really just like in English when you say it takes and you say what is it really? And yeah, whatever you're talking about, that's what it is. So it's exactly the same in Italian. It means nothing in a way, just there to create these expressions. So ci does not change when you're using this expression. We'll come back to it, obviously. The other one, this one is like an easier option, also because it's very similar to English. È necessario is literally is necessary, so it is necessary, singular, and sono necessari are or they are necessary. This is the plural. If you had the feminine, it would be necessaria and necessarie, the feminine. So something is necessary or some things, plural, are necessary. And then we have the verb servire. Servire, which also has the meaning of to serve somebody, but otherwise, servire, si serve and servono, is to be useful. So here, can you see we have to serve? This does not serve me, so it is not useful to me. So here, I said we are using the verb to serve. Here, to be necessary. Here, the verb volere, to want. And as you can see here is where we have the singular and the plural. Vuole, vogliono, ci vuole, ci vogliono. So this ci, and that's why you have to be careful. You have to learn all these ci or the little words. What are they doing and in which context? In this context, in this case, the ci, as I said, doesn't mean us or anything like that. It's just part of this construction. So it does not change. So the difference between ci vuole and ci voglio, in fact, we'll see it in a bit. It makes more sense when we see some examples. So here we have some examples in the singular. So piove, perciò ci vuole l'ombrello. Literally, it rains, so it is raining. It is raining. Therefore, ci vuole l'ombrello. It's like the umbrella is necessary. And then here, so this is ci vuole in this case means is necessary. If you're talking about the plural, nevica, perciò ci vogliono le catene. So it is snowing, therefore, so ci vogliono, le catene are the chains for the tires. So the chains are needed, are necessary. So this is how you can translate it is ci vuole or ci vogliono, the verb volerci, something that is needed is something that is necessary. Um, maybe, yeah, something that is needed or necessary. And can you see, so why do we have, or when do we have the singular and plural? Here, what is needed is l'ombrello, which is singular. So we have the verb singular. So the verb is agreeing with what is needed. If you think the umbrella is needed, also in English, the umbrella is necessary, the verb is in the singular form. So ci vuole l'ombrello. The umbrella is needed, the umbrella is necessary. Here, plural because le catene, the chains, are plural. So the chains are needed, are necessary. So the ci, as you can see, they are just the same for singular and plural. We are only changing the ending of the verb. So it's the third person singular or ombrello, agreeing with ombrello, and the third person plural agreeing with catene. So this verb volerci, we only find it in the two forms, the two conjugations, third person singular and plural. So you can conjugate it for other people, for anything else, is whatever is needed or is necessary, is it is necessary or they are necessary. So only two conjugations, third person singular and plural. The next example that they're giving us is piove, perciò è necessario l'ombrello. This one is more literally, is literally, it's raining, therefore the umbrella is necessary. Exactly, literal translation is in English, from English. It is necessary. The umbrella is necessary, singular. The necessario here because is masculine singular ombrello. The verb is here. If we're talking about something plural, nevica, perciò sono necessarie le catene. So it is snowing, therefore the chains, feminine plural, are necessary. Sono necessarie. So in this case, we have the same example. We have one umbrella, which is singular, and the chains, which are plural. So they're giving us the same examples as ci vuole, ci vogliono. However, unlike volerci, to be necessary, you can conjugate it for every person. You can say, I am necessary, you are necessary, they, he, she, and we, and you, plural, everybody can be necessary. So you can just use basically the verb to be, and then conjugate the verb to be, sono, sei, è, siamo, siete, sono. So all the persons, and then remember you need to, this is basically an adjective, you need to use the masculine or feminine, necessario, necessaria, and same here for the plural, necessari, masculine, just with the E, the I, or necessarie when it's feminine. So this one, you are conjugating the verb to be, so you can conjugate for the all persons. The first one, only the third person, singular and plural. Same thing for this third example. Piove, perciò serve l'ombrello. It is raining, therefore we need, in fact, the umbrella is needed. However, so how can it mean exactly the same? Exactly, there is a slight difference between using ci vuole and serve. Ci vuole, as I said, is more like it is necessary. Serve is more like to be useful. it is useful to have an umbrella when it's raining. So yeah, this is to be necessary and this is to be useful. So this is how you can see the difference. And you can choose accordingly because one will work better in the, more accurate. And here, looking at the plural, nevica perciò servono le catene. It is knowing, therefore, the chains are useful, very useful if it's knowing. So yes, this is exactly like the volerci. In this case, with this meaning, the verb servire, we only have the conjugation in the third person, singular and plural. Well, actually, you can say actually you don't you are of no. What did I say earlier? Um, it's like it does not. The umbrella serves me, or the chains serve me. Any theory, actually, technically, you can use it for, it's not going to happen very often to use this expression, really. Although, yes, it is possible. So grammatically, it would be correct to use also, I do not serve you anymore, you do not serve me anymore, or something like that. Obviously, strange, it's very specific situations. Um, but yes, it is possible and grammatically correct. However, now we are talking about more with this more innocent meaning. So something is useful or some things are useful. So just recap, a little recap. The first one, only the third person, you conjugate. The second, you can conjugate the verb essere for the persons, everybody can be necessary. The third one, normally for this meaning, we use the third person, singular and plural. However, if you want to use this specific expression or meaning really in a certain situation, then you can conjugate it. So something is not useful to me, or something is not useful to you, or so you can make it more personal. This one, can you see they're actually impersonal? They're used in a impersonal way. That's why when I'm talking about a specific example, we're using it in impersonal way. So the umbrella is useful. We're not saying to whom the umbrella is useful. And if, for example, if I says, I'll say here is a good moment, really a good time to say it. If you want to say the, the umbrella is useful to me, then you can say mi serve l'ombrello. If you want to say the umbrella is useful to you, ti serve l'ombrello. And then, so you're using here, so you're making it more personal. This one, as I said, is like the umbrella is useful in general. However, if it's useful to me, to you, to him, her, to us, to you, plural, and to them, you are using the indirect object pronouns, which if you don't know, if you haven't watched the videos, do go and watch them. So it makes a little bit more sense. So you would say, the umbrella useful to me, mi serve l'ombrello. To you, ti serve l'ombrello. To him, gli serve l'ombrello. To her, le serve l'ombrello. Us, ci serve l'ombrello. So we need, it's like we need the umbrella. It's like, can I have the umbrella? I need it. It's useful to me because it's raining, or to us. Vi, plural, vi serve, and gli serve is useful to them. So you change the pronouns, indirect object pronouns, but you keep the verb singular because it's conjugated according to ombrello, singular, first person. So, yes, this one, as you said, depends when something is useful to somebody in particular, you can use the indirect object pronoun. Same here, obviously. The chains are useful to me, etc., etc. So these are, yeah, the three verbs that we can use when something is necessary or something is useful to us. So here are the exact question that I asked earlier. Quanto tempo ci vuole o quanto tempo è necessario? Can you see that really interchangeable? Ci vuole, it kind of comes a little bit more natural, really. How long, so how much time, how long does it take? And in fact, if you just say how long does it take to get somewhere, you say quanto tempo ci vuole per arrivare wherever. This quanto tempo è necessario is less colloquial. It's still kind of, it's not really formal. But so as I said, I use maybe suggest to use it if you haven't yet understood, learned, memorized, or if you're not brave enough to use this. I think è necessario, yeah, should be more maybe more comfortable because it's similar to English. So we have a question here. Quanto tempo ci vuole per arrivare a Roma? How long, how much time, how long it takes to arrive in Rome? So ci vuole, we're talking about tempo. So that's why vuole is agreeing with tempo, how much time it takes, how much time takes, literally, or is necessary. And then let's see the questions. Obviously, if I talk about tempo, as I said, vuole è singular. The answer depends. It could be ci vuole ancora molto tempo. It still takes, or it still necessary a long time. So it's still a long time. If, let's see the other example, ci vuole un'ora. If it's just 1 hour, so singular, 1 minute, 1 month, 1 week, so one of something, singular, you keep the verb singular. It's agreeing with what, how long, in this case, it takes. So ci vuole un'ora. 1 hour is necessary. Remember, think like that to decide if you need the verb singular or plural. O ci vogliono 3 ore, 3 hours are necessary. So we are using vogliono plural. Obviously, you can ask how many hours does it take to get to Rome? So the question would be quante ore ci vogliono? How many hours it takes to arrive in Rome? Quante ore ci vogliono? So remember, the verb agrees with what comes, what is necessary or what things are necessary. So these are more, as we said, the way they're used here, more impersonal. However, we can also use another verb. So we've got three options here, but we can also use another verb. This verb is when we are talking in particular really about time. Yeah, about time. This one, can you see something is useful, the chains for the tires, the umbrella, or useful or necessary. And also with time. If instead more specific for time. So if you want, you can start learning these three, which you can use with everything, for everything. And then if you want to add one more for the time, you can learn the verb, I'm sure you already know the verb mettere, just to put. However, this one is with a ci, like the volerci, so it's metterci. Metterci would be the infinitive. So you can conjugate the whole verb and just keep the ci. You don't need any other little words. You're keeping the ci with all the conjugation for every person. So let's see this example. So quanto ci mette? How long does it take? And what? This is the question is general. Quanto ci mette l'aereo? How long does the plane take per arrivare a Parigi to get to Paris? The answer ci mette 2 ore. Can you see the verb is conjugated according to l'aereo, whoever is taking the time, not how long it takes, like vuole, vogliono. Now it's like, so you have to understand the difference. Do not confuse these things. And that's why I say learn perhaps this top part first, and then you can learn specifically for the time this one, where the infinitive would be metterci, and you can use it for all the persons. So, for example, instead of l'aereo, here you can have how long do you take? How long does he, she, they, we take to arrive in Paris? Depends how fast we are going. Oh, which also indirectly, which means of transport we are using. So if you want to say how long does it take for you to arrive, to get to Paris, then you say quanto ci metti. So metti is the conjugation for to, um, but ci stays there all the time. Ci, remember, does not change. You only conjugate the verb because there is the ci here, like in volerci, doesn't really mean anything, but it still has a function of creating this expression to take certain time. So again, if you want to ask how long do you plural take to arrive in Paris? Quanto ci mettete? How long do they take? Quanto ci mettono? How long he and she ci mette? It's like l'aereo. How long do we take? Quanto ci mettiamo? So this is a conjugation according to the person who is doing the action. How long does it take for me, for you, for him and her? You only conjugate the verb, you keep ci. The answer would be just the same as the question. Io ci metto 2 ore. Tu ci metti 2 ore. Lui, lei ci mette 2 ore, noi ci mettiamo 2 ore, voi ci mettete 2 ore, loro ci mettono 2 ore. So you conjugate the verb, you keep ci. Clear? Yeah. So when you digest, if you manage to digest this, I'm sure you have to listen to it a few times. If you have questions, please, as I said, add it to the comments and I'll reply. And only recently I've seen some comments, they never appeared, I never saw them, and they were written a few months ago. So apologize, I've just replied to them. So I hope there aren't any comments still there waiting to be waiting for an answer. But please, if I don't reply within really a few days, it means it has not appeared in the channel. So add another one in the same video or whichever video. So this one, in fact, here they are explaining us a little bit how to use them. So ci vuole, all different options that we have. Ci vuole is followed only by a noun. Ci vuole l'ombrello, ci vuole un'ora. So the umbrella is necessary, or an hour. It takes an hour. È necessario, it is necessary, exactly like in English, can be followed by a noun or a verb. È necessario plus sostantivo o infinito, so the noun or the infinitive of a verb. So we've seen è necessario l'ombrello, the umbrella is necessary, o è necessario studiare molto, it is necessary to study a lot. Mhm. Yes, it's very true. This is exactly like in English, this è necessario. Yeah, super quickly before you, otherwise it becomes a little bit heavy, but I try to speak slowly, because it takes a while to digest all this stuff, really, it's quite a bit. So some examples, these are exercises. So we have a multiple choice. Abbiamo una scelta, diverse opzioni. Quindi numero uno, per andare a Mykonos con la nave, and we have a choice. The answer is 5 ore, 5 hours. The options are ci vuole, ci vogliono, ci mette. So which thinking are we doing here? We have to think, which verb is conjugated according to how long it takes, which verb is conjugated according to, in this case, the means of transport of the person. So you have to remember that. So you come back here. Is it one of these? Which, remember, these ones were more impersonal, or is it this one that you can conjugate according to everyone? And keep in mind, you have to read the sentence very well, because sometimes it's like you expect or you assume that they're asking in fact, you understand the question, but you can ask the same question different way. So how did they ask? How did they ask this question? Sometimes the mistakes, it's like, I thought they asked, but it's not what they asked. It's not how they asked. They did ask exactly what you understood, but it's not the way they asked. So the answer was different. Mm. So don't make assumptions. You said, oh no, but 5 ore, oh yeah, I'll just go for that. So here we have cimette. Do you remember cimette? They're not saying qual another. So if you have um, but the answer for this one is, let's do the thinking. Let's do the thinking. So in order to get to Mykonos with the ship, it takes 5 hours. Yeah. So with the ship, we are not saying the ship takes 5 hours, but in order to get to Mykonos by ship, it takes, or 5 hours are necessary. Eh? Ci vogliono 5 ore. So that's why here really, if you didn't have con, you could say per andare a Mykonos la nave ci mette 5 ore. So just the con makes a big difference. This one will be wrong because ci vuole needs to agree with the time in this case, and 5 ore is plural and vuole is singular. So this would not work. The other two, you have to be careful. So just here, the preposition con makes the whole difference. Numero due. Invece, instead, on the other hand, l'aereo, and then we have another choice, 30 minuti. So here we've got something similar but different. Instead, or on the other hand, the plane takes 30 minutes. So which one are we going to use? We have ci mettono, which is the one that you can conjugate for everyone. ci vuole, which is more impersonal, and it agrees with, in this case, the time. So it doesn't look very good. Ci vuole is singular, 30 minuti is plural. I would absolutely say the one is not an option. And then we have ci mette. So now we have to remember what did metterci do? So we can conjugate it according to whoever is doing the action. Who is doing the action? L'aereo. L'aereo is one. So l'aereo ci mette. The plane takes 30 minutes. L'aereo ci mette 30 minuti. So however you do your thinking, but look at all your options. Remember, double check the examples you have. And, you have to go like, is this singular, is this plural? How does each verb work? 3. Per entrare nella rete internet, in order to enter the network, internet network. So you can see that it's quite old. And then we have some examples. L'abbonamento. So l'abbonamento is just a membership, subscription. So you need to pay for it, basically. And then we have ci mette, vuole, and ci vuole. So let's see the sentence exactly. In order to get online, let's update this expression. In order to get online, the subscription is necessary. Basically, or it takes a subscription. It's not just a fantastic thing. So we have vuole here. Vuole is out immediately. It's not included anywhere here. Vuole is the verb to want, but what we're using here is volerci, not volere. So it will be one of the other two. Let's see. Ci mette, what did we say about the verb metterci? Metterci is mainly when we're talking about time. It takes me 3 hours to do something. It takes you whatever time to do something else. So perhaps this one is also not fantastic. Ci vuole, we said, as we see at the top, it means it is necessary. This one is singular, just double check. Abbonamento is also singular. So does it work? In order to get online, a subscription is necessary. Ci vuole l'abbonamento. Ding. Segnare is to tick. 4. Per andare in Egitto, in order to go to Egypt, we have our options. Il visto sul passaporto, a visa or the visa on the passport. So look, immediately I can see we have serve. No, in fact, no, this is no, sorry. Forget what I've just said. So we have ci mette. Ci mette is singular, il visto, the visa is singular. However, we said ci mette is more about time. So it's not time, we need a visa. So, and then, so we've got these other two choices. Here we can see immediately one is ci vogliono, which is plural, and this is singular. So for that reason only, it would not work. And for meaning, serve, if you remember, serve means it is useful. Useful, needed, more than just useful in this case. Serve il visto. If it's too useful, I would add if I needed. Yes, because we said ci vuole is it is necessary. And serve it is useful. But yes, sometimes something is also needed. So both of them, ci vuole and serve, can be translated with needed. There is a need of something, it serves. it serves, yeah, having the visa serves you very well. So yes, we said cimette, no, not because it's about time. Ci vogliono, it would have been, had it been ci vuole, it could have worked. Ci vuole il visto, the visa is necessary. But in this case, it's plural, it does not work. Serve is singular and it is useful or needed, so we'll go for serve. So do when you're doing your exercises, your practice, check very well how did they write something? Because, as I said, many they just fall in these traps. And I said, you could have got it right. You did understand it, but you assumed it was written in a certain way. And it wasn't the correct one, unfortunately. So this was a little bit complex because we have so many options. However, I hope it has helped. Do watch it more than once. It's like one of those things that you watch it and say, I understand it. Yes, it's a bit complex, but or maybe the first time I don't understand anything. Second time, I think I get it now. I think I remember one or two. And then you have to watch it a few times and even do, for example, these exercises, these four exercises, four sentences with choices, and do them again. Leave a few days. You can take a screenshot or whatever. And you can find as well online. You can always find exercises, practice to do. So this is, again, this is the only ways to keep practicing. And it doesn't have to be just speaking, it's writing. Writing is underestimated. People don't write anymore. But it is a very good way to memorize things. So, right, and I always say, if I among the advice uh, I give to students, to my students, is write, copy. When you have a sentence, don't just say, oh, with a little gap, for example, but this one, it was a tick. It's a tick. Yes, of course. However, write the whole sentence. Once you've decided, say, okay, I'll go for this one. I think this one is correct. Write the whole sentence. So it helps you also to see the whole sentence in your own, like you have transferred it a little bit more into your own words, let's say, because you have written it. Feel free to type if you, but writing, you make, the harder you work at something, the more, generally, the more it stays in this case. So if you copy the whole sentence with the choice that you've made, you write that, and then you read it. Remember that reading something loud is like a muscle memory. You remember, you get used to read it, to see it, and at the same time read it. It makes a big, big difference. It's like even in your language, you take something and say, I'm going to read it loud. It's not the easiest thing to do. Try it. Take a book in your language, unless your English or whichever it is your first language, and read it loud. The first time that it's something that you've never read before. It doesn't come easily unless you're used to do it. You have to do it a few times in order to read it properly. Exactly the same. So get used to just say those words in their succession, especially when you have these expressions that need to be said together. Ci vuole, ci vogliono, ci metto, ci metti, serve, servono. So that is one little idea, something that you could do. And I will leave you with that. I think this is probably quite a long video, but you can always just watch a little bit, digest, rewatch the same bit, and then finish and listen to the rest. Even it's not very good really for YouTube thing that if you interrupt watching something. Maybe let you play it, stop listening, then you can do that. Um, but yes, if you can do it gradually, don't try and memorize and too much at the same time because then it's easier to forget it as well. Anyway, as I said, I will leave you to that and ci vediamo la prossima volta. Ciao!